Greetings, and salutations, beautiful people in the beautiful world. It is me, he is I am him, Zach Latimer, Z-Lat, and welcome back to another segment of Right and Exact. A shout out to a new nation and a shout out to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today, what I want to talk about and build on is game, okay? Game. When you hear the word game, some people cringe. Some people say, I don't have time for games. I'm too old for games. Games are for children. And this is true to a certain extent. But at the same time, all right, just because you feel like you have crossed the burning sands into adulthood, or what you consider to be adulthood, does not mean that the game goes away. All right. Now, we are in a game, and the game is called life. Now, when you mention this game, some people say that they are fed up with it and they don't want to deal with it. And usually this is because they are losing the game. You wouldn't say that if you were winning a game, right? You would be all into it. So just because you don't want to see it or acknowledge it does not mean that it doesn't exist. It's just like gravity. Just because you don't want to acknowledge that gravity exists does not mean that it does not. So, because it is there, then it would be incumbent upon one to learn the rules and the parameters of the game so that they are able to manipulate it and have it work for them. Okay? Sometimes you'll find yourself in an ongoing game. And in an ongoing game, kind of like in your corporate politics, even though politics fit inside of game. But even when you're in a corporate situation, you have to know your position and your role. All right, you have to find the definitions of success in that environment. Therefore, you can start to manipulate it and make it work for you. Now, the best way to go about this, though, is to find your position and your role. So let's say if you are working some type of production, right? And you want to be in front of the camera, but you feel like, you keep fighting against yourself. You have to find what that comes natural to you. So it may come natural to you for you to sit down and you're just a writer and you can just write for hours upon hours. And you can do this because it comes natural to you. And these are the gifts that you were born with here into this universe. Well, stop trying to fight yourself, find your role and your position, and then start to go in that direction. And you'll start to see that you can start to manipulate the game a little better for you. Games don't even stop in the corporate environment. They also go into relationship, right? And usually in relationships, there's a certain kind of coyness that one plays. There's a certain kind of, they want to have wit. You want to have a mouthpiece. You want to have your game tight when you start to talk to the complementary sex. And a lot of times this can start to wear some people out because after you get over that initial, I talk to them, my wit is there, I have a comeback for everything, or I'm doing certain things, and then you get used to each other and you get comfortable, and then all of a sudden you find yourself, I am tired. I'm just tired of doing that. Yeah, you're tired of doing that because you're pretending. You're not being yourself. And when you're not being yourself, then you start to wear yourself out. So here's a way to look at it is the best game is no game, right? The best game is no game. And I'm saying that because you have to be yourself. You have to be authentic. Like right now, you're getting Zach. And if you get me right now, you're going to get the same me that you would get if you found on the streets, if you found anywhere in any other environment. This is just what you're going to get. You cannot pretend. You have to be authentic and you have to be you. Just like when you find in some situations, people, they may try to wear certain clothes. They try to rent a car to make the posture themselves to look and have some type of notoriety or be something that they're not. And it's just not you. Like you're not fooling anybody but yourself. So the best thing that one can do if they want to become more interesting, is to read something interesting, do something interesting, and step out of your certain circumference of what you already do. Take a class, take a salsa class, do something to get to find yourself to be more interesting. Therefore, you can have some more interesting conversations with other people. And this even carries over into your spiritual work, right? You have to be authentic. You have to be true to yourself and who you are. As Chief would always say, be as natural as you can be with your spiritual self. And some ways that you can start to ruin your game is even in your spirituality when you get around certain family and then you want to hide your spirituality because you kind of want to fit in or you don't want to rock the boat any. This is how one can ruin their game. You also can ruin your game by, if you are a strong person and you get around a certain environment with certain friends and you want to cover up your strengths, you can start to ruin your game like that. You have to be authentic, you have to be real, and you have to be able to stand on your square that this is who and what I am, and this is my role and my position in this game of life, and you have to be able to stand against the harsh winds of reality, that when people start to come against you, that you say, this is what I am, right? And even if you look at, even in the social media, and you find that people tend to focus on their adversary more than they focus on their own moves that they're making. So if you look at their social media accounts and they just got what everybody else is doing, and so is not for us, and so is not doing anything to help our community, so on and so forth. And you have to start looking at it and saying, well, what are you doing? What are you bringing to the table? What are you bringing to the table more than just a plate and a spoon and complaints? You're not bringing anything to the table, but you want somebody to do something for you, and all you're doing is focusing on your adversary and the moves that they make. What one would need to do is start to focus on the moves that you're going to start to make. And how you start to do that is you have to remove the hate. And once you can remove the hate, then you can remove the cloudiness and the cloudy vision that you have, and you can start to become an analytical and critical thinker, and then start to visualize and see the board of where you're at, your role and your position on this board in this game of life, and then start to make certain moves accordingly. So when you see your opposition and you see the moves that they make, then you can say, good move, but here's my move. And your social media would be filled with the moves that you're making instead of all of the complaints that you have. Focus on your game. Get your game tight. Keyword being your game. You. All right? I will that you got something out of this. I will that you have a wonderful day. If you want to get deeper into this, you can go into Enlightenment Transformation. Chief y'all will go all the way in. You want to chop it up with me, you can catch me on Instagram, Zach Latimer, ZACHLATIMER, or you can catch me on Facebook. Either one. Have a wonderful day. I'm out. Peace.